But as we go through the year, day to day, I think we get off track a lot. It's difficult to stay focused on what the goal is and also to stay passionate about that goal and keep moving towards it. I think that's really the crux for me in my personal life. And I'm sharing my personal tool set of framework that I'm going to share with you today. And it's about something that I use, something I think you guys can take away. So I'm going to talk about some crazy stories. One particular week in my life that I spent with Josh Hawkins in California. So we're talking about Josh and me climbing today. We're talking about climbing mountains, but what I want to challenge you to do is two things. I want to challenge you to think about your mountains that you're trying to climb. And not just to build a bear at home. I don't really care where they're at, which one pops your mind first. But think about the mountains you're trying to climb, the summits you're reaching for in your life. Secondly, and this is the hardest part, is I want to challenge all of us. I'm challenging myself every day to change my behaviors in ways, just a little shift in what I do every day. How can I change my behavior just a little bit so that I reach a little further and I accomplish the goals I want to accomplish in life? That's the crux to me, day in, day out. We can sit down, John and Maxine, Tina, our leadership can come up with great goals. Most of them are pretty obvious ones, sales, we can all get behind that. How do we get there? How do we stay going? And how do we be passionate about what we do every day? I think passion is the secret, in my opinion. Whether we really make the goal or not is how much passion, if we have a ton of passion behind it, we drive that. And I've been thinking about this a lot. I majored in psychology. I've always been trying to analyze myself, which is a problem in itself. I'm trying to figure out what is it that drives us, what drives me, what makes a difference in what company that achieves goals and people that achieve goals day after day and people that don't. So if it's passion, then I had to ask myself, well, what is it about passion? How do we keep passion going? That's great. I can get up here and talk about climbing stories and hopefully entertain you for a little while. Big deal. What are you going to do next week that's going to be different? So if I can tell you passion, you probably agree, yeah, I think if you were passionate, I'm going to accomplish my goals. That would be great. So how do we get to be more passionate? So I'm trying to develop a little framework that I'm using for myself that I'm trying to apply every day in my life. I don't always do it. It's pretty simple. It's easy to remember. I mean, I have an easy little acronym to remember. But I think it's tough. The crux is, again, I want to challenge all of us to focus on changing our behavior day in, day out, and focusing and shifting just a little bit. A little shift in our personal behavior day in, day out will make a big difference. So I believe the secret to driving passion is quality questions. I think we have to ask ourselves quality questions. It's a simple little acronym, ABC, okay? We need to ask ourselves quality questions. And I mean, we ask ourselves, what goals do we want to accomplish? We zoom back and we ask that. But I'm talking about also at the month level, the week level, the day level. When you walk in the office in the morning, when you sit down in a meeting, business meeting, what exactly am I trying to get out of this particular meeting? What's the objective? What do I want to accomplish? What am I getting out of? What is today? What do I need to get done today? What's the big rock I need to move? What are some little rocks I need to attend to so I don't get tripped up? I got to keep up with my email, for example. Personal challenge I have. Share challenge right with all of us. You got to ask yourselves. If we don't ask ourselves, we come in the office and we get engaged, we're answering emails, the next thing you know, the day's completely out of hand. So how do we keep focused on the big goals we're trying to accomplish every day? I think we have to step back with it, observe ourselves and step back and ask ourselves. When I sit down with my family for dinner, I have to ask myself, what do I want to get done right now? I want to focus on my kids right now and my family. Whether you have children, or you have a significant other, or a friend you're meeting for lunch, what do you want to focus on right then and there? What do you want out of it? You have to ask yourself. It sounds like such a silly question, really, but I think it's really important. It's these simple things that people remind us of that can make the difference. So you've got to ask yourself, and you've got to ask yourself until you believe it. Somebody can bring us a sales goal, we can believe in that, but how are we going to accomplish it? Somebody can bring a proposal to the table. And if we don't really believe it deeply, we can nod because maybe it's Maxine sitting there, you don't really feel courageous enough to ask enough questions. I want to challenge all of us to ask the questions. And I'm not talking about being negative, I'm talking about being positive. How? Help me understand how this is going to help us. I want to get fired up, and I want all of you all to be fired up about these things, because if you're not emotionally connected and passionate and you don't feel it, if you're not excited about it, then you're going to try, but you can't really drive real passion without really being emotionally connected to the end result. And then sometimes it takes some questions, and sometimes it takes some courage. Sometimes you ask some questions and you never do connect, and maybe you can't commit. I think that's the next critical thing, is we have to commit ultimately. We have to chart out, and pretty simple at the beginning of the year, but I think we have to rechart, recommit all the time. Project doesn't go the way we expected, something happens, we have surprises, we have Easter moves to April, all kinds of things are happening all the time. We have to reassess, rechart our course, recommit, and ask ourselves quality questions. What do we believe? ABC, it's so simple to remember, I believe. But again, I want to challenge us all to apply it every day.
Thank you.